Welcome to the deep dive, everybody.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna be looking at the Resurrectionist
Oh, wow.
by Rae Dunlap,
Yeah.
and it's a Gothic mystery set in. Get ready for it, 19th century Scotland,
Oh.
and get ready for some chills because we are going to be diving into the world of body snatchers,
Oh my God.
people who dug up corpses for you're not going to believe this anatomical study.
It's a fascinating premise,
It really is.
isn't it? I mean, Dunlap, she really weaves this historical reality into a gripping mystery,
Yeah.
that explores not just the act of resurrectionism, but also the moral dilemmas that it presents.
Okay, so picture this, right?
Yeah.
Edinburgh, 1800s.
Okay.
Dunlap's descriptions are so vivid you can practically smell the damp cobblestones and hear the whispers echoing through the foggy streets.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like the city itself is a character in this dark, Gothic tale.
And that's crucial to the genre, right?
I think so.
Gothic mysteries, they thrive on atmosphere. Dunlap uses those sensory details like, creaking floorboards, flickering candlelight,
Yeah.
to create a sense of unease that really sets the stage for the story.
Right.
But it's not just about spooky vibes.
No.
It's also about the characters who inhabit this world.
You're telling me. One thing that really struck me was
that?
how morally complex Dunlap's characters are.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're so used to clear-cut heroes and villains.
Yeah.
But here, everyone exists in this gray area.
Right.
Even the protagonist, who's involved in this ethically questionable practice, he's grappling with his own demons.
And yeah.
There's this one line where he says, "The dead teach us more than the living ever could."
Oh.
And it just reveals so much about his internal conflict.
Yeah.
He's driven by this thirst for knowledge, but it comes at a disturbing cost.
And that's where the real meat of the story lies, right?
Yeah.
Dunlap doesn't shy away from the gruesomeness of resurrectionism.
Yeah.
In fact, she describes it in detail.
Yeah.
This forces us, as readers, to confront the reality of what was happening.
Right.
To consider the motivations of these body snatchers.
Oh, yeah.
The desperate need for cadavers in medical schools.
Yeah.
And the ethical lines that were crossed in the name of scientific progress.
Yeah, it's definitely not a light read.
No, it's not.
I know. It makes you question how far is too far in the pursuit of knowledge,
Right.
especially when it involves exploiting the dead.
Oh, yeah.
But back to the story itself.
Yeah.
How would you describe Dunlap's approach to pacing the mystery?
She's a master of suspense.
Totally.
She alternates between these slow, atmospheric moments that build tension and then, bam, bursts of action that leave you breathless.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's like she's playing with your expectations,
Yeah.
drawing you in with the eerie setting,
Right.
and then hitting you with those plot twists you never see coming.
Oh, there were definitely some moments where I gasped out loud.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The reveal about, I did not see that coming.
I know, right?
But you're right. It's that balance of quiet tension and sudden action that
Yeah,
keeps you glued to the pages.
totally.
And speaking of keeping you hooked, I've got to give props to Dunlap for blending historical fact with those Gothic and even supernatural elements.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
It's a tricky mix, but she pulls it off seamlessly.
And it makes the story so much richer, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for
You're learning about a fascinating historical period
Right.
and the grim reality of resurrectionism,
Yeah.
but you're also getting this thrilling, almost supernatural mystery that keeps you guessing until the very end. It's like
Yeah.
she's saying,
Yep.
look, even in the darkest corners of history, there's room for the fantastical, the unexplainable.
It's like she's found the sweet spot between historical fiction and Gothic horror.
Yeah, I agree.
And before we wrap up this first section of our deep dive,
Oh, yeah.
I have to mention Dunlap's writing style.
I was going to say,
Her prose is just gorgeous.
it's beautiful.
So descriptive and evocative.
She paints such a vivid picture with her words. Oh, my God.
And the dialogue,
Yeah.
it feels so natural.
Uh-huh.
But it's also revealing these layers of character and motivation.
Yeah.
She even manages to sprinkle in moments of humor,
Oh, yeah.
which is a welcome break from the darkness.
It definitely keeps the story from being too oppressive.
Yeah, I think so.
There's this one scene where, and it's just so unexpected and perfectly timed.
Oh, tell me about it.
It adds a touch of humanity to these characters who are grappling with some pretty heavy stuff.
It shows that even in the face of death
Yeah.
and moral ambiguity,
Yeah.
there's still room for laughter, for connection,
Right.
for those small moments of lightness.
And that's what makes The Resurrectionist such a compelling read.
Yeah. Totally.
It's dark, it's suspenseful,
Mm.
it's thought-provoking, but it's also deeply human.
I agree.
Now, having laid the groundwork,
Yeah.
let's move on to dissecting the plot itself.
Okay. Dunlap's plot is like a labyrinth,
Mhm.
full of twists and turns that keep you guessing until the very end.
Oh, yeah. You're dropped right into the action with a chilling murder.
Right.
And suspicion immediately falls on our protagonist.
Right. And that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
You're not just trying to solve the murder.
Right.
You're also trying to figure out who the protagonist truly is.
Exactly.
Is he a cold-hearted criminal or a victim of circumstance?
I know, right?
Dunlap, she cleverly uses the mystery to force us to examine our own prejudices.
Exactly. We tend to make snap judgments based on appearances or professions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But Dunlap, she challenges us to look beyond those surface-level assumptions.
Right.
She shows us that even those who deal with death, like the Resurrectionists,
Right.
have their own complexities and vulnerabilities.
I love how she does that through the relationships between the characters.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, the protagonist's bond with his mentor.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
It is.
It's clear they care for each other, but their different perspectives on the morality of resurrectionism create this constant tension.
Right.
It's like a moral tug-of-war playing out in their interactions.
And it raises the question, can you truly separate the person from the profession? Can you be a good person while engaging in a practice that many consider morally reprehensible?
Totally.
Dunlap doesn't provide easy answers.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the story so thought-provoking.
It definitely stays with you long after you finish the book.
Oh, yeah.
And while the mystery itself is captivating,
Mhm.
I found myself equally drawn to the historical details.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Did you know that in 19th century Edinburgh, there was a real shortage of bodies for anatomical study?
Wow.
This led to a thriving black market for corpses, with resurrectionists becoming key players in this macabre trade.
It's a dark chapter in medical history, for sure.
Totally.
But it's important to understand that context.
Yeah.
To fully appreciate the moral dilemmas that Dunlap explores in her book.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The desperation for anatomical knowledge, the fear of grave robbing, the societal pressures that led to these ethical compromises. It's all woven into the fabric of the story.
And what I find so clever is how Dunlap uses the supernatural elements to amplify these real-world anxieties.
Right.
For example, the rumors of a ghostly presence haunting the graveyard where the murders take place. It adds this layer of fear and uncertainty,
Yeah.
blurring the lines between reality and superstition.
It's a brilliant way to tap into the collective consciousness of the time.
Yeah, totally.
Back then, people genuinely believed in the supernatural, the
Yes.
power of spirits and curses.
Yeah.
By incorporating these elements, Dunlap creates a sense of unease that permeates not just the story, but also the historical setting itself.
It's like she's saying, even if we don't believe in ghosts anymore, the fear they represented, the anxieties they embodied, those are very real and very human emotions that continue to haunt us.
Right.
But let's get back to the protagonist for a moment. He's on this journey, not just to solve the murders, but also to find his place in this morally ambiguous world.
He's constantly wrestling with his conscience,
Yeah.
trying to reconcile his desire for knowledge with the ethical implications of his actions.
Totally.
And his internal struggle mirrors the larger societal questions that Dunlap is raising.
Yeah.
She's asking us to consider what sacrifices are we willing to make in the name of progress,
Right.
and who ultimately bears the cost of those sacrifices.
It's heavy stuff,
It is.
but it's presented in such an engaging way.
It is, yeah.
You're so caught up in the mystery, the suspense, the Gothic atmosphere that you almost forget you're grappling with these complex ethical dilemmas.
And that's the mark of a truly gifted storyteller, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Dunlap manages to entertain and educate simultaneously.
Yeah.
She pulls you into this dark and fascinating world,
Right.
but she also leaves you with something to ponder,
Yeah.
something to discuss long after you've turned the final page.
Now, speaking of the ending, I have to say, I was both satisfied and surprised.
Yeah, me too.
Without giving too much away, I thought it was a brilliant way to tie together all the threads of the story.
Yeah.
The mystery, the characters' motivations, and those lingering questions about morality and mortality.
She doesn't wrap everything up in a neat little bow, does she?
No, she doesn't.
Dunlap leaves some loose ends, some unanswered questions that force you to keep thinking even after you've finished the book.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It stays with you. It
Wow.
sparks further exploration.
Yeah.
It invites you to draw your own conclusions.
And that brings us to the heart of this deep dive, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Beyond the thrilling mystery and evocative setting, The Resurrectionist is ultimately a story about confronting uncomfortable truths.
It's about acknowledging the dark side of history, the ethical complexities of scientific progress,
Yeah.
and the very human desire to understand both life and death.
Right.
Even if it means pushing boundaries and challenging societal norms.
Dunlap doesn't offer easy answers,
No.
but she does offer a powerful and unforgettable journey into the shadowy world of 19th century Edinburgh and the moral dilemmas that continue to resonate with us today. So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Resurrectionist, what stands out to you as the most impactful element? What will stick with the listener long after they close the book?
I think for me, it's the lingering question of how we define progress.
Oh, yeah.
Dunlap forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that, scientific advancements,
Yeah.
even those that benefit us today, often came at a cost.
Right.
The Resurrectionist, it serves as a stark reminder to examine the ethical implications of our pursuit of knowledge.
That's such a powerful takeaway.
It is.
It's easy to celebrate scientific breakthroughs without considering the sacrifices that might have paved the way.
Right.
But what about Dunlap's writing itself?
Yeah.
What did you find most captivating about her style?
Her ability to transport you to another time and place.
Oh, wow.
Through her vivid descriptions and, masterful use of language. You're not just reading about 19th century Edinburgh. You're practically walking its cobblestone streets, feeling the damp fog on your skin.
Wow.
And hearing the whispers of secrets carried on the wind.
It's like she's created a sensory experience, right?
Exactly.
And that's what makes this book so much more than just a mystery.
Yeah, for sure.
It's an immersion into a world that is both familiar and unsettling.
Precisely. And I think that's what will resonate most with listeners.
Yeah.
It's not just the plot twists or the historical details,
Yeah.
but the overall feeling that Dunlap evokes.
Right.
A sense of mystery, dread, and wonder.
Yeah.
All wrapped up in this beautifully crafted story.
It's a book that stays with you.
It's,
It makes you question. It
Yeah.
sparks your imagination.
Yeah.
And isn't that what we all crave from a great read?
Absolutely. The Resurrectionist is a reminder that sometimes the most compelling stories are those that delve into the darkest corners of human experience,
Oh, yeah.
forcing us to confront our own values and beliefs.
Well, I'll say.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a book that will challenge you, captivate you, and stay with you long after you've turned the final page, I
Yeah.
highly recommend giving The Resurrectionist a read.
And if you're fascinated by history, intrigued by mystery, or simply appreciate beautiful writing,
Yeah.
this book has something for you.
Totally.
It's a story that will stay with you long after the final page is turned.
And that wraps up our deep dive into Rae Dunlap's The Resurrectionist.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this exploration of a fascinating historical period, a gripping mystery,
Right.
and a thought-provoking story.
Thanks for joining us.
Remember to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more captivating book discussions.
Yes.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep reading,
Yeah.
and keep those minds engaged.